All right, here we go. Today we have Hollywood royalty in the building. Fred Williamson, a.k.a. The Hammer. Welcome to Vlad TV.
It's time to be somewhere. Everybody got to be somewhere, so here I am, right?
Here you are.
Yeah.
Truly an honor, man. Thank you so much for coming in.
I'm sure it's going to be fun.
Yes. Let's start at the very beginning. So you were born in Gary, Indiana.
Yeah.
Okay. You were the oldest kid.
Only kid.
Only kid.
Only kid.
Okay.
Yeah. I had to fight my own way, do my own thing.
Me too. Only child.
But it's nice being an only child.
It is.
You know, you get all the accolades and you can control your own life being that way. You know, I mean, I had to fight my way, but I had to fight only because I was such a good-looking kid. Everybody thought I was soft. So I had to fight every day to show that I wasn't a pushover, you know.
Right. You talked about how you built a thug mentality at some point.
That was part of the thug mentality, being a young kid who went to school dressed, because my mother always dressed me nice and had shiny shoes. I had to brush my shoes every day. So somehow kids thought that's a sign of weakness. A guy comes all dressed up and he's not dirty, and that was a sign of weakness. So I got shoved and pushed around until I just say, you know, okay, I can do this game. And the last guy, well, I probably was in the 7th, 8th grade. He pushed me, and he don't remember pushing me anymore after that. So that's what I did, man. And I became kind of an obnoxious guy too after having to keep people away from me, challenging me. I don't want to live my whole life as a challenge.
Okay, so you were born in Gary, Indiana, but then you moved to Chicago.
Moved to Chicago because I had problems living in Gary with all these people who were bothering me, testing me to see if I was as tough as they say I was. So I moved to Chicago. Parents moved me there, and I wound up going to DuSable High School, and I graduated from DuSable.
Okay, so we're talking about the 50s in Chicago?
Talking about the 50s, yeah. My last year in high school was 56.
Okay, so what was Chicago like? Because I mean, these days, you know, you have the gang situation in Chicago is very prominent, the murders and the violence and so forth. But in the 50s, what was it like?
Gangs didn't exist, man. It was, you know why? Because parents were in control. You had a curfew, 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock. The street lights go out, you better be home. So the parents are more involved in the kid's life than they are today. I mean, kids, I hear kids talking back to their parents like my mother would have knocked me across the room, man. The way some of these kids talk back to their parents. So the parents had more control of their kids, and so the kids had to, you know, prove that they were doing the right thing.
Okay, so you graduate high school, and you end up joining the Marines right afterwards?
Joined the Marines because I got motivated by the Marine Corps, by some John Wayne movies and some other things, and so I wanted to be a Semper Fi guy. But I had a scholarship waiting for me at Northwestern. So I was able to go to Northwestern right after.
Okay, and you went to Northwestern not on a football scholarship, but on a track and field scholarship.
Exactly. I was not a football player. I started playing football. First of all, I was a track star only because the girls liked the athletes, right? So I had to pick a sport. Football looked a little obnoxious to me, so I didn't want to play football. So I became a track star. I was a 100-yard dash, 200 meters, and 400-yard dash. They called them dash back in the days. And that's where I got a scholarship from Northwestern. They said, hey, we like what you're doing. And I was a grade A student because I had to show that not only was I a tough guy, that I had some brains. I didn't want to be the bully in the school. I wanted to be the guy who had some intelligence and can take care of himself. And the first guy to raise his hand in class when the teacher asked a question, I was the first guy to raise for the answer. So I had a mixture of being a tough guy and being an intellectual guy.
Okay, so you go to Northwestern on track scholarship, and you actually want to be an architect.
I graduated with an architectural engineer. I went to Frank Lloyd Wright School during the summers when I wasn't in school. While I was at Northwestern, a coach named Errol Parsegian came my freshman year. Errol Parsegian came, and he heard about this kid who was about 185 pounds, who was a track star. So he decided to come down and talk to me, and he did. He came down and he says, son, I like what you're doing in school here. Have you ever played football? And I says, why should I play football? You know, I got a scholarship here on track. Why should I go play football? He said, well, we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll do this, we'll do that. I said, what? We'll give you this, we'll give you that. I said, I'm there, man. I'll play. This is my freshman year. Back in the day, freshmen couldn't play football. because they figured you weren't physically ready and capable of taking the blows and hits. So freshmen couldn't play football.
Okay. They offered you a car to play for the football team?
Dude, I had the world, and I made more money at Northwestern than I make here. I have to pay taxes here. I don't have to pay taxes there.
Okay, so this is what, boosters giving you under the table money?
Boosters, not a new car. I had a new Thunderbird every year.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it was the boosters. I mean,
this was all legal, by the way.
It was all legal. I mean, the boosters could do what they wanted to do. You know, there was no rules for the boosters. The school just encouraged it. So
look the other way.
Yeah, they encouraged it. So I had a great time. I hated to leave Northwestern.
Right, with all the new cars you're getting.
Every year I left with a 1957 Thunderbird red. You know,
nice. Okay, so you graduate college.
Yeah.
And do you know you're going to the NFL at that point? Or wait, was it the NFL? Because it was the NFL and the AFL.
The AFL hadn't existed yet. It was 1960. So the AFL started in 1960, but they weren't that popular. Nobody was going for them. So I had a chance to play for the 49ers. So I got drafted by the 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
So I go to the 49ers, and we get to the last exhibition game. I'm doing good, but they had me in the wrong position. I was All-American flanker back because of my speed. I was All-American catching the ball. First day in camp, they give me a red shirt and 49ers. I said, what is the red shirt for? It means I'm special? He said, no, son, this is Red Hickey. So you're playing defense. I said, I don't play defense. I don't know nothing about defense. Don't you know who I am? At that time, my nickname was Speedy. I said, I can catch anything. Anything you throw, I can catch. He says, we don't need defensive backs. We have R.C. Owens. We have a lot of all-stars here that already pass receivers, so you got to play defense. So I said, okay. After 2 weeks, every day, they're making me look like I never played the game before, like I never even put on a uniform. I'm stumbling, I'm falling down backwards. I can't cover nobody, man. And he comes to me and he says, son, you disappointed us. It's Red Hickey. So you disappointed us. We thought you could make this transition. I said, I told you, but I'm not a defensive back. I don't know how to cover anybody. He said, well, we'll give you a few more days to make yourself, show us that you can improve, or we're going to cut you and send you home. And I'm saying to myself, man, you're going to send me where? I'm going back to Gary? I'm going back to the ghetto in Chicago? There's no way. I'm the toughest guy in the neighborhood. You ain't going to send me back no damn where. So that night, I figured out what I was going to do. So first day of practice, it was my turn to cover somebody. The first guy came up was a all-pro receiver, R.C. Owens. I get about 1 yard off of him. And Red Hickey's yelling at me, God damn it, Williamson, get back. He's going to make you look stupid. And I said, shut up and hike the ball. So he said, okay, make him look bad. So they hiked the ball. John Brody was the quarterback. R.C. Owens took one step off the line of scrimmage. I went like that, knocked him out, flat out. Red Hickey runs over and says, God damn, Williamson, what are you doing? I said, I covered him.
He's down, right?
He said,
he didn't catch the ball.
He was down. He didn't get up. He said, all right, Williamson, back up, stop hammering my players so I could get some pass offense in. That's how I got the name Hammer, from coach saying, stop hammering my players. So I was there to the last exhibition game, and then they decided to trade me to Pittsburgh because they wanted a receiver that was lightning, and that had Ray Norton. Ray Norton is just coming off the Olympics, and they traded me to make room for Ray Norton. But they forgot to ask Ray Norton if he could catch.
Okay.
And he couldn't.
So then you go to the Steelers.
I go to the Steelers.
In 1960.
Yeah.
Okay, and you started 6 of 11 games.
Yeah.
For that first season. How did that first season go? I mean,
it was good because I wasn't a cornerback there. I was a safety, so I could hit, and I didn't have to concentrate on covering people. So I became a hitter. I loved going in the middle because I was a 210 pounds, 220 pounds safety, and I loved going in there and hitting people. So I had a good rookie year, and I go back to Oakland to bring my gear back because I didn't have a chance to break all my gear when after I got traded from California to Pittsburgh. So when I'm gearing my gear, I get a phone call. Al Davis. I said, Williamson, why don't you come over here and play in the NFL? We got a new league starting over here. And I says, well, I kind of like where I am, He said, well, you'll be an immediate star over here. Everybody will know your name right away. You'll be an immediate star. So I says, well, okay, that sounds good. He said, how much are you making? I understand this now. I'm making $9,500. He said, okay, we'll give you a $500 raise. Come over here for $10,000. I didn't need no car to cross the Bay Bridge, dude. I ran across. I was like lightning crossing the Bay Bridge to get to the Oakland to get $10,000 to play for the Oakland Raiders. That's how I got to the Raiders.
Right. And during that time, I mean, this is not the NFL of 2023 where people are, all they do is football. The salary you got wasn't enough to really support yourself. So half the year you were working for Bechtel?
I had my off-season job. After football was working for Bechtel Steel in San Francisco.
My dad used to work for Bechtel back in the day.
I was like, really?
Yeah, exactly.
Architect and engineer. I worked for Bechtel.
Yeah.
And it was a great career. And I was having a great time. I had football for 6 months and Bechtel for the other 6 months. So I had a good thing going. And then it all changed because I got bored. I got bored with football. There was no longevity. I didn't see longevity in it, you know? And I got bored with football. And I decided to leave football and just become a full-time architect and engineer for Bechtel.